Good morning, students. My name is Dr. Johnson Oko. Once again, I'm your facilitator for this course, BFN 301, Practice of Banking. Yes, last week or in our last lecture, we talked about the different models of commercial banks in Nigeria. In that class, we learned that commercial banking as it is today is more of specialized banking model. And that before the introduction of this specialized banking model, we used to have what we call the universal banking model, where every bank is permitted to fetch or to do or to transact in any financial product. But today is a different ballgame. Commercial banks are now categorized into three. And these three models are: one, the regional banking model; two, the national banking model; and three, the international banking model. And we also saw that these three categories of banking models require different amounts or capitalization requirements. That for regional banking, billion; for national banking model, you require a minimum of 25 billion. And for international banking model, you require a minimum of 50 billion. So students, this is actually what we try to learn in our last class. In today's class, we are going to look at the different types of banking operations with emphasis on merchant banking, development banking, and non-interest banking. Yes, we have, with the specialized banking model introduced by Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, SY CBN governor, we have these different models. Banks are no longer financial supermarkets as they used to be. So we are going to have insights on the operations of merchant banks, development banks, and non-interest. That's actually the objective. Last week or last lesson, we talked about commercial banks being retail banks. But as much as they are retail banks, the whole aspect of the sector would also need to be covered. And which bank now covers the wholesale? The bank that covers the wholesale sector is the merchant banks. So merchant banks are also known as wholesale banks. They take deposits from any natural or legal person in the amounts that are so specified by the central bank. They provide financial and credit facilities to non-retail customers. Examples of some of these merchant banks in Nigeria are the Rand Merchant Bank and the FSDH Merchant Bank. These are good examples of merchant banks in Nigeria. Now, we talk about the development bank. Yeah, government had to set up development banking model or development banks such that development can be sustained in the country. Some of the key sectors of the economy needed to be given emphasis. And because government is interested in the growth and development of the economy, they have to set up development banks so that such sectors, such specialized sectors of the economy can be well taken care of. Examples of development banks that we have are Bank of Agriculture and the Bank of Industry. You'll agree with me, students, that the Bank of Agriculture services the agricultural sector, and the agricultural sector is a key sector in the Nigerian economy. We also have the Bank of Industry that also takes care of both the medium and the long-term loanable funds for the industrial sectors of the economy. Hello, students. I hope the lecture is being well understood. Another specialized banking is the non-interest banks, also known as the Islamic bank. Yes, the name Islamic Bank is not well echoed because of the religious connotation. It is officially known as non-interest bank. And a good example of non-interest banks we have in Nigeria is Jay's International Bank. It is important for us to know that the non-interest bank we have in Nigeria is categorized into two. One is non-interest banking and finance bank based on Islamic commercial jurisprudence. And two is non-interest banking that is based on any other established non-interest principle. So these are two major categorizations of non-interest banking in Nigeria. And a good example, like we said, is the Jay's International Bank in Nigeria. Hello, students. Yes, again, is that as we add that there were exceptions for commercial banks, we also have exceptions for non-interest banks. There are areas that non-interest banks cannot delve into. They are not permitted to transact in such areas. It is instrumental that we get acquainted with some of these areas that are exceptions or no-go areas for non-interest banks in Nigeria. One is areas where you have uncertainty and ambiguity. And these areas are, one, the gambling. Of course, you know, gambling is illegal in this country. We also have areas of speculation. Anything that has to do with speculative businesses, the non-interest banks are not expected to delve into it. Areas that will encourage unjust enrichment. Areas that will encourage exploitation and unfair trade practices. And areas concerning dealing in pork, alcohol, arms and ammunition, as well as pornography. These areas, as mentioned, are areas that are no-go areas for non-interest banks in Nigeria. So, for any organization that is interested in going, or any investor that is interested in floating a non-interest bank, such investor should know that there are some areas, as enunciated now, that cannot be delved into. Students, once again, I thank you for listening. I thank you for participating in this class. Today's class I think that person. And I also think on and that you have enjoyed it about merchant banks, and we'll talk. Do you have questions? Any questions, fans? If there are no questions, do you have any questions?